Good evening to everyone. And so we are down to two groups. May I present to you the 10th group from DICT 36. The title of the research is Barangay Based Real-Time Emergency Location System. Researchers, so you may now start your presentation.
Our Capstone project is entitled Barangay Based Real-Time Emergency Location System. The proponents are third-year graduating students of the Institute of Technology under the Diploma in Information, Communication, and Technology. The proponents will be presenting a system application that is responsive during force majeure events and human-induced hazards. The proponents aim to provide a more efficient way for emergency reports to the local government unit for the better quick response and medical assistance to be able to help the constituent in the community. The structure allows the response units to view the digital maps around through a geographic information system that lets the response unit marks its action. The researchers use the real-time emergency location system that is barangay-based for structured and precise performance in rescue-based operations. The residents will report manually or on a real-time basis for a smooth and orderly manner when an emergency transpires. The administrator that will fetch the emergency reports, monitor, and notifies the residents. The response team will know the location and the emergency details and information of the residents, and as well as the medical condition. For the statement of the problem, the study aims to develop, deploy, and evaluate the barangay-based real-time emergency location system using an Android application and a real-time basis database that seeks to answer these particular questions. Number one, how is the barangay-based real-time emergency location system designed based on the following terms? Offline mode, in case of emergency, casualty range, emergency contact, in-app notification, COVID vaccination information. Number two, what is the respondents' level of acceptance towards the developed tools based on ISO 9126? Functionality, reliability, and efficiency. Number three, how will the barangay-based real-time emergency location system evaluated and implemented? Our scope is for the individuals in Barangay Tumana, Marikina City, live map alert and in-app feedback for the functions and offline mode. In case of emergency or ICE, casualty range, emergency contact in-app notification, COVID vaccination information for the features. For the limitations are the user preference, minimum of 1 gigram, Android 7 up to latest, mobile data, or Wi-Fi, and has Google Play services for the application requirements. Subject to risk management protocols and policy implementations. If it's beyond the system, which requires decision-making and implementation of policy, it is already within the control of the authorities. For the significance of the study, the barangay-based real-time emergency location system will make differences in areas that will be noteworthy for the following sectors. For the community, this incorporates the people within the Barangay Tumana, Marikina City, an improvement to the rescue-based operation response of the local barangay units that will guide its community to safety. The system will be able to support response units and could be a means to survive in a sudden predicament. For the LGU government or barangay, the proposed system presents new ways and improvements in aiding rescue operators, barangay governance. In cases such as calamity, the system will let LGU know people's exact real-time location. In this way, LGUs can comprehend how they can conduct actions and responses. For the lay responders or lay rescuers, someone who is not professionally trained to render a higher level of medical care with the help of in case of emergency or ICE that is built in the application, lay responders can comprehend what is the initial condition of the person has and can properly provide proper relief to the person in need of rescue. They can contribute until medical assistance arrives. The researchers, this study will provide the researchers additional understanding and a chance to further enhance their skills in the development and analyzing system analysis. For the future researchers, This study would be able to help future researchers in gaining proper understanding and will serve as a guide for better analysis, reference, and studies. Research instrument. To obtain the desired data, the researchers of this study used survey questionnaires as the major instrument, which utilize a researcher-made questionnaire. The respondents of the study are located at Barangay Tumana, Marikina City. In the questionnaire, we used Likert scale.
Thank you for that, Mr. Laron. I'm now going to present our system architecture. I'm going to simplify this architecture by declaring three entities as per our system concludes. First is the resident. Second is the barangay-based administrator, and also the response team. Let's start with the resident. If the resident is a new user, he or she can register into our app using his or her mobile number. And after that, authentication provided by Firebase. If it is authenticated, it will be redirected to our dashboard and he or she can fill up all the information details such as in case of emergency details. After redirecting the dashboard, he or she will be enabled to do such things like viewing his or her place, determining his location, the current weather, and also send or report an emergency. Next is the barangay-based administrator. Our administrator must register first to set his or her scope of locality in which our system does is via barangay. After registration, barangay administrator will be now able to view or respond to the emergencies in our live map. If there is an emergency that was visible on the live map, the administrator can show it or can respond to it very quickly. And also, in our system has an algorithm of offline mode which determines the location of the resident. If the resident location has been disabled, let's imagine, for instance, there's a storm or even a typhoon or flood happens where the internet connection is down, we can provide his or her locations through our system. This is the more detailed part of the system architecture, the resident emergency. The resident will send his or her location and input emergency details and then send. After that send, all the data will be redirected to the database and also on our barangay-based admin app. Next is the barangay admin report. The barangay admin report has barangay emergency location system web app, which is a web-based that is also connected in the Firebase real-time database, which the admin can have an ability to create a report, send the feedback to the resident, and also give an information to the response team on how they will act or how they will respond to the respondents or to the residents who needs an emergency. Resident emergency contact notification. If the resident has an emergency contact, it will be notified if the other resident has an emergency. So we base this on a point-to-point system where you will get notified if you have registered in our app also. Next is the response report. Even the response team has also their own app. They can fetch emergency reports that was given to them by the administrator generated. And then after that, they can update the report status. They can see the location of the residents. And that's it. They can provide emergency response. Next is the contextual diagram. This is the main whole convection of our system from barangay and database. As I said earlier, we have three entities. As if you may ask why three entities, but there are four here. Resident emergency contact also declares as a resident, kaya we declare it as a one entity, even the resident. And then barangay response team and barangay administrator. And as I said earlier in the system architecture, this is most or a more lower part of the data flow diagram which will be discussed on the next slide.
Ito po yung DFD level 1 for resident. So, magsisimula sa resident. Bali, yung mobile number, pag nakuha na yung OTP, i-check yung mobile number niya. Kung new yung mobile number, masasave muna siya sa user. Tapos, kung registered na siya, i-fetch yung details ng resident, tapos mariredirect siya sa dashboard. sa dashboard, pwede siyang mag-edit ng information para ma-store uli sa users. Pwede rin siya mag-toggle ng location na pag tinoggle is magpa-process siya sa background na every 5 minutes masasave yung kanyang location sa users. Sa dashboard, pwede rin mag-set ng profile image, mag-set ng emergency contact, mag-view ng location forecast, or mag-send ng emergency, tapos mas-store siya sa markers. So, ito yung level 2 DFD pag nag-emergency yung resident. So, magse-set muna siya ng emergency details at ma-store siya sa markers kung saan makikita siya ng barangay admin. Tapos yung barangay admin is pwede mag-feedback kasama ng message and name ng admin papunta sa user. Ito naman is level 2 DFD for setting profile image ng resident. So pag magsiset ng profile image, kukunin muna yung mobile number ng resident at magse-select ng image. Tapos yung mobile number is gagamitin as file name ng image na kinuha ng user at masasave siya sa Firebase cloud storage. Tapos mas-save siya sa local storage and mariresize siya para sa image ng dashboard. Ito naman yung level 2 DFD for setting emergency contact. Bali yung resident is mag-set ng emergency contact. Hihingi muna yung app ng permission para magkaroon ng permission ng access sa local contact list. Tapos mag-show siya ng list ng mga contact. Tapos doon pwede pumili si user ng contact at masasave siya sa users. So, pwede siya ma-notify pag in emergency si user. Ito naman yung DFD2 for viewing location and forecast. So, kukunin muna yung location in map sa Google API. Tapos gagamitin yung geolocation API, yung coordinates sa geolocation API para makuha yung locality at makuha yung weather API pupunta sa resident. Yes. Ito naman yung level 1 DFD for barangay administrator. So kung wala pang account ang admin, pwede siya mag-register. Tapos masasave siya sa administrators. Tapos pag meron na is pwede siya mag-login with email and password. Tapos mababalidate muna siya. Tapos magre-redirect siya sa dashboard. At pag nasa dashboard na, yung admin barangay name is gagamitin para ma-filter yung barangay scope. Isasave siya sa markers, users, and administrator na database. Tapos, doon niya makukuha yung live map, emergency markers, resident details ng barangay na yun, at other administrator info. Ito naman yung sa report ng barangay administrator. So, halimbawa nakapag-receive na ng report ng barangay administrator is pwede siya mag-create ng report. Tapos, isiset niya as reported papunta sa markers kung saan makikita siya ng mga barangay response teams at pwede rin yung barangay response team mag-set ng emergency as reported para ma-update yung nasa markers. Ito naman po yung use case diagram. Bali may 4 po. So sa simula po sa resident, bali sa sign up po, included na po dun yung verification ng number. Tapos pag mali po yung in-input na verification, maglalabas po siya ng invalid code. Tapos pwede po dun mag-edit resident information, set ng profile image, set emergency contact, view location and forecast, tapos toggle ng notification or location. Pwede rin siya mag-send na emergency papunta sa admin ng flood emergency, fire emergency, medical emergency, or other emergency. Tapos pwede niya rin siyang i-cancel. So sa admin side naman, pwede siyang mag-register, log in, meron din siyang verification and send error message kung mali yung verification. Create report, search resident. Pwede niyang makita yung mga emergency ng resident, barangay scope filter, forward emergency, view barangay ID QR, send message to resident feedback. O kaya mag-send ng notification sa emergency contact ng resident. Sa response team naman, meron siyang login via QR code or barangay ID na makukuha kay barangay admin. Tapos, meron din siyang update report and add to archive.
Next po yung resident user flowchart. Starting from the resident, mag-ask po ng permission. Then, kapag nag-yes po, susunod po sa notification, mag-ask po ulit. Then, next po yung pag-enter ng mobile number, magsasend po yun ng SMS verification. Tapos, tatanungin po kung already registered na, didiretso na po sa dashboard. Kung hindi pa, kukunin po yung personal information, COVID vaccination survey, age category. Tapos tatanungin po kung are you vaccinated? Kapag nag-yes, how many dose of vaccine? Kapag no, check symptoms, experience. Then, are you a frontliner? Kapag no, didiretso na sa complete survey, then diretso sa dashboard. Then, makikita po dun yung iba't iba pong functions, kagaya po nung dun sa emergency contact, image, location and weather forecast, settings, na pwede pong ando po nakalagay yung notification toggle, tsaka location, pati po yung dark mode. Pwede pong i-edit yung user information. Sa image po, pwede rin po maglagay, profile image. Next is yung pag-input po ng contact person po ng residents. Next po yung sa emergency button po, meron pong ilang pagpipilian, flood, fire, medical, others. Tapos yung sa others po ay naglalaman ng accident, crime, landslide, power outage, at report po, at iba po pong report. Tapos tapos didiretso po yun sa message report, tapos magsisend po siya, tapos didiretso na po ulit sa dashboard. Tapos magpaproceed din po pala siya, tapos mag-aantay po ng response kapag na-accept na po ng admin.
So, ito na po yung summarize ng aming survey. Ito yung results and discussion summary. So, makikita po na yung accuracy, yung reliability ng offline mode namin, which is weighted 4.0, which falls under agree. Functionality ng ICE namin in case of emergency, weighted mean of 4.0 under agree. Efficiency of emergency contact, weighted 3.8, agree. Reliability of COVID information, which weighted 3.9, which was under agree. Based sa results na mga nakuha namin sa survey questionnaires ng respondent ng Barangay Tumana, most sa kanila is agreed sa terms of functionality, reliability, and efficiency ng barangay-based real-time emergency location system.
That concludes our documentation. We're now going to present our demo. This is our splash screen, and first part is our app will going to ask permissions. First is the location permission. Next is the enable notifications. Notification settings depends on the phone manufacturer. Some phone manufacturer brands are not displaying notification on the lock screen. Next is the mobile number authentication. For presentation purposes, I whitelisted my number in Firebase so that I can generate my own code. After the verification, we will now be redirected to the personal information that will serve as an emergency, in case of emergency information. Let me fill this up first. After the registration, we will now be prompted to the survey health safety awareness survey that can be seen by the response team. This will help us information about the resident if he or she is vaccinated, which can help the response team prevent COVID-19. Let me first take this survey. After the survey was completed, we will now be redirected to the dashboard. This is our main dashboard. As per demo presentation, Mr. Carmelo already registered a while ago in our test. Let me introduce to you our dashboard. First is the the information button, which consists of the data that I've entered earlier, which you can edit it. And then this next is first. After that is the emergency contact. Based on our system architecture, emergency contact serves as a contact for if there's an emergency happens to this person, the emergency contact will be notified. If we allow the app, we can provide all the emergency contacts in the cell phone will be registered here. As you can see, if your number is the same as your contact, you can add that unless you add another number that is also registered in our app. Next is the My Place. We call this My Place, which consists of your location and the weather in Marikina, which Tumana is, and also the settings. Our setting consists of notifications. So as you can see, we have an ice here, which can be seen on lock screen. Even on lock screen. Even our app can run on lock screen. And if we turn this off, we can see the notification. So we keep turn this on to provide that. And after that is our location. We need to enable our location to send an emergency report and also the dog mode. Let's go first. Let's set aside our resident first and go back to the admin application. This admin application was built with Firebase SDK and React.js as a front end and Node.js as a backend. If you don't have an account as an barangay administrator, you can create one. Let me first fill this up. If you have an existing email in administrator, you can use it again. That's why we have a verification here. We were now going to select our region. Why we do this is because we can set the locality of the administrator into barangay using geolocation API, which transforms the address into coordinates. After you have registered, you will be redirected to the login page. As you can see, we have previous emergencies already live in our system. We have 3 residents here. This is a live resident report. And also we have also the barangay already reported by the admin. On the right side is the emergency counter and then the sorting of the emergencies. For now, we have an others. This concludes, I think, noise complaints or other barangay reports. On the upper right side is an account which you can edit, change, or log out, and the QR code. This barangay ID will be used by the response team to create an account based different to differentiate their barangay. Let's say this is the ID of Barangay Tumana. If you're going to if you're part of the response team of Barangay Tumana, you can get this from your barangay admin. Then, if you have an app of the response team, you can scan this and you will be redirected as a response team in the Barangay Tumana. On the hamburger menu here, we have reports and management files. Management of files compiles all the reported and responded information na generate sa isang barangay. And then reports are the currents. Let's differentiate this one. Reports is the current and the management of files consists of all the reports. And we have a search bar here which can be sorted using full name, first name, last name, and mobile. For now, let's try to send an emergency. Let's go back to our user. Mr. Carmelo Laron will be sending an emergency. As an example, first you need to turn on your location. And then emergency button has a shortcut feature. You just need to hold it, the button, and then the other shortcuts will pop up. Let's say if you have a flood, these are the most common emergencies that you will need in a barangay, and then you can provide others. Here, you can set this as default. If you set this, let's say power outage. Let's say power outage is common in your area. You can set this as default. And then if you click on others again, this will be set as power outage. And then let's try flood. If the location isn't on, and then we can send a flood. We can send an optional message dependent on the resident. And we have a cancellation. If we cancel this, the emergency will be canceled. So let's try to send again. Let's wait for the emergency to view in the live map. As you can see, in real time, this is our edge. Markers is the reference which can be used as a reference of the barangay administrator na this person is living here, he or she sent his location here. That's why we need to act fast here. And then let's say Mr. Calmero Laron details, the number, resident info, even in markers, you can see the details and also the flood and the emergency timestamp. Then report. Here is the report part, consists of the resident name, the timestamp, and the details. Reporting to, this is the where the response team will focus on. Let's say you have a barangay security force. But for now, if it is flood, let's go to a risk reduction. And then we have implemented the tri-age, which is urgent, priority, or emergency. If it is an flood, flood season in Marikina, we can set this an emergency. And we have provided a pre-made replies, which you can send to your residents. Let's try this one. We can then send the reply, flood, here, seek higher grounds if you're in there. I think we have issues here. Okay, so it is locked. That's why we don't get the notification, but if there's not luck, we will see the reply of the admin in real time, and then Mr. Carmelo Laron's report goes down here, and we can also see the building location. And let's go now to the response team. For the response team, as I said earlier, we have Barangay ID, which they can be used to log in as a response team. We should be getting out here. Continue. The response team will need to sign up first after getting the barangay ID. So let me fill this up first. If you have successfully signed up on our application, you need to verify your email. That's why we have here a Gmail to verify our email. Send verification link. If you have sent many or continuous verification links, this will happen. I almost double click it because the internet was disconnected. I think it is here. This is the authentication. If it is verified, we can now view all the reports and refresh our response team web application. As you can see, we have seen Mr. Carmelo Laron's report. We are only going to see Mr. Carmelo Laron because we are in the Department of Risk Reduction Department. And if we click this eye here, we can see his identification, and also as I said earlier, all the COVID information that was taken in the survey will be shown here. View location, we can view the location of the resident kung saan siya nakalagay, and then we can send this as responded. If the respond happens, we're going to send it as a respond, then it will automatically save into the administrator's management files, and then the user can then marks his or herself as safe. And let's go back to the barangay administrator to see the reports, the compilation of reports. Here, this will be prompted you to enter your password again. After submitting, you can see the history of Carmelo Laron's information, which is responded and was reported on 7/25 and was also responded on 7/25. And that concludes our system application. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First group researchers from the ICT 36. May I call now Mr. Pajardo to give your comment and recommendation. Mr. Pajardo.
Yes, sir. Now, you mentioned about the regarding phone notification varied per brand. Tama ba? Yeah, a while ago you mentioned about limitations
Yes,
of the mobile phone. Tama.
What do you mean, sir, by limitations in mobile phone?
Kasi di ba when you are doing your demonstration, you said that the settings of notification depends on the brand.
Yes, sir. Some OEMs, but I think at least 20% has that feature to block notifications. Or even older phones has that.
Yeah, because when I go back to your document, you did not mention included that. So please include the limit as part of the limitation.
Yes, po, sir.
Okay.
Yes, po, sir. We'll take note of that.
Yeah. So when it comes to system, So ang role lang ni user is just to send the notifications and then the situation, tama?
Yes po, sir. As emergency report, as a case report, they will be sending.
Mm-mm. And then I'm just imagining is there is a dashboard or there is a monitor in the barangay that will alert them that there is a report.
Yes, sir. Our system can provide, even if it is in web, I think we can show it on a screen larger than computer.
O hindi, I mean, if it is actually, if it is in actual implementation, there will be a screen, of course, in the barangay that is being monitored
Yes po,
by
sir.
one of the personnel. Okay.
Yes
Ayun
po,
lang.
sir.
Sige, thank you. That's it.
Yes po. Thank you po.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Fajardo. May I call now our second reactor, Mr. Alexis Libonao, to give your comment and recommendation.
Thank you, sir. If I remember my professor in systems analysis and design, no, I forgot if it's Sir Tinawin or Sir Katura, but he mentioned that the context diagram or level 0 should be the simplest form, no?
Yes po, sir.
Having said that, okay, you should provide only two entities, no? The resident and the barangay, no? Okay, and then if you explode that, then you can include the other entities, no?
Okay
Okay.
po, sir.
My real concern is, it's not a concern but an additional feature, no? With regards to the interface, it's good, no? Okay, it's very good, no? However, if it's online, no, and it's an emergency, no, people tend to panic, and you don't.
Yes po, sir.
Barangay should not believe in surveys because people also tend to lie, giving the information. It's procedural, no. They should wear always PPE or
Yes.
something, no. Okay. Now, my observation is that you could add a feature wherein the emergency button can be double tapped, no. In which case video and audio will be available. So instead of picking things up, no, like that category of emergency, no, they could just send the video or audio, no. Okay.
Yes,
If
po,
it's
sir.
an
I think
emergency, no, you're in a panic,
Yes,
no.
sir.
Okay.
Yes po.
You're just going to send video or audio to the barangay, no? And if it's, let's say, you're not connected to the internet, no? Okay, then you should provide a way in order to, for the information to be sent, no? I know that Firebase acts as a temporary storage, no?
Yes po,
To
sir.
be in your database, correct?
Yes po. Yes po.
Okay. That's why if it's not connected to the internet, no, if it's online and you're limited to text, no, so you should provide an interface so that the barangay could verify if that's a real emergency, no, coming from a resident.
Okay po, sir. That's a
That's it.
great idea. And po, we will take note of that, sir, for recommendations. Thank you po.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Alex, and Sir Fajardo for a very insightful recommendations and suggestions to our researchers.